So today I'm going to be doing the rounds with Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence, how are you? Good to see you. Has life in lockdown been? I believe you've been doing some house renovations. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, me and my best friend have managed to move, and we're now also renovating my mum's flat. Obviously, I've been fortunate enough to help her get on the right to buy, and I'm just doing it up because I think it's important. Sorry for rambling, but I feel like with lockdown, it showed me a lot of stuff that's actually important. So, for
Yeah.
example, your living environment, the living space. So, I just wanted to make it a little bit more comfortable for my mum and siblings.
You're a handyman now. I mean, that's brilliant. You dab hand with it. Is it a paintbrush, a hammer? What have you been doing?
It's been obviously painting the whole house. Changing the flooring. So I'm really good at destroying stuff. I've noticed that. So when it comes to ripping the floorboard up or
Why
whitewashing, I'm
does
really
that
good.
not surprise me?
You know what? I don't even know. But yeah, so we've been really kind of pushing towards that. I actually can't wait to show the before and after. A lot of times when you're living in something called like, for example, my parents have, or my mum and siblings have been living in it. You get comfortable with it, but seeing the before and afters are breathtaking for me right now. So I can't wait for it to be completely finished. I think we're about a week away. But yeah, I think we're gonna get there.
And how's training been?
Training's been good. Initially, it was difficult. My head was all over the place. When am I going to fight next? I was in line to box for a world title, still am. But, I knew roughly when it was. To now, obviously, the whole world went into like, lockdown and stuff. So it was initially difficult, but now, obviously, with the new place that I've got and building a gym in the back and just better communication between myself and my training team, I'm able to sort of, you know, keep the weight down, stay relatively fit, and just mentally focused.
Good stuff. Well, let's get stuck into this. Then it's 6 3-minute rounds. The aim of the
Ah,
game is you answer as many questions as you can in those 3 minutes. The first round is life before boxing. Let's get going. Uh,
okay.
what were you like as a child, Lawrence?
Chubby. Oh, am I meant to elaborate further? I was chubby.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, no, I mean I was chubby. A lot less confident. Um, really into like, do you know what I mean? Playing video games.
What was school like for you? Did you like school?
It varied depending on how old I was. Early days, not so much. Then when I started getting into sort of more sports and felt a bit more comfortable with myself, it started ended up being a really good place. So I'd say it varied initially when I was young with the bullying and stuff like that. It was difficult, but once I found myself, it was good. I enjoyed it.
How did you get into boxing then?
I got into boxing. Really, I'd had like a altercation um, with another student at the time, and a boxer in the school saw and just said, "You know what? We need to get you down the boxing gym. You said you want to lose weight. Boxing really helps with it." So, I just decided one day I'm going to go with him. And from the first day that I walked into the boxing gym, it really caught my attention. I loved it. They made me spar the first day. It was so I was, getting punching someone back just at random and then shaking their hand afterwards. It was really good. And I think what really set it apart for me is I wanted to train, but I didn't have the mindset. So, if I went to the gym to do 10 push ups, it would be a case of I might do five, I'm tired. You know what? I've done five. But when you go to a boxing gym, it's 10 is 10. If you need to take a rest, take a rest, but you're getting the 10 done. And that kind of mindset, being instilled, I loved it. So from now, I've managed to incorporate it into my actual, makeup. But that's one of the things that really stood out to me.
What moment did you realise that you could do something with it?
I think my first instinct was watching AJ and Luke Campbell, in the Olympics winning, and Nicola Adams, obviously, and just like obviously more so AJ because I'd seen his story, like I'd heard about him in the amateur circuit, he's a big, strong guy knocking everyone out. Then watched, a guy from London win the ABAs, win the GB Championships, win like a silver in the world, and then gold to win the Olympic gold. So I just thought to myself, you know what, it's doable. But then actually, the one of the two main breakthroughs I think was sparring Dylan White and then sparring no AJ, then Dylan White, then AJ again. So I remember getting in there and thinking to myself, like, hold on a minute, I've had like 13, 14, 15 amateur fights. Like, and I'm in there doing, 6, 8 rounds with professional heavyweight boxers and champions, who I looked up to. So that was where I really felt like a shift. And I said, what, I'm physically made for it. I'm mentally made for it. Let's just apply myself, and then from there, I've obviously managed to do what I've done so far.
Finally, Lawrence, we've run out of time on this one, but I have to ask you because it's thrown at some really funny answers. Who was your childhood crush?
Halle Berry.
Yes. And probably still. Right, let's move on to your... She looks great. Right, let's move on to your career in boxing. Right, former Olympian, you're 40-0 professional record, British, European, Commonwealth champion. What's your career highlights?
So far, probably qualifying for the Olympics, I think.
What are you most proud of?
Probably winning the European, I guess, because it's the biggest title I've got so far.
What would you say your motivation is? Is it titles, money? What is it?
I got a few. Obviously, I want to continue to do good things for my family and friends. So the accolades. Obviously, I'm a little bit of a narcissist, so I like a little bit of the pats on the back. And you know what, you're the man. To flex on my ex is also a big one for me. And then finally, I think that just being a champion. Like, so after I've retired, I've got other avenues to go into, like, business wise.
Are you a superstitious man?
Not really. I've had superstitions before, but I've tried to break them because you never know if you'll be able to carry out your superstitions before a fight. So I just tried to break away from them.
You're managed, of course, by the big man himself, Anthony Joshua. How did that come about?
I think it's obviously I'd sparred him a lot, so he obviously knew what I was like physically in the ring. It's one thing to watch someone outside, another thing to look at their accolades on paper, and it's another thing to feel it. So I felt like he obviously knew that I was talented. First-hand experience. Obviously, going to Olympics, he came out there actually to support the boys. So that's the first time we actually really got to talking about and what actually happened is his management. I was looking to turn professional, and I just asked him for some advice, simple advice. Hey, I've got options from X, Y, Z. They gave me, honest, transparent advice on, what deals I should be looking at, what this, what that, how much AJ was getting at this point in his career, how much, do you know what I mean? So it kind of helped me get a broader picture, and then we kind of just came to the conclusion once. I was like, oh, hold on a minute, why don't we just kind of work together if that's a possibility? Unfortunately, it was, and then we went from there.
Big news regarding Anthony Joshua coming out that we're hearing that he signed a 2-fight deal to fight Tyson Fury. Firstly, who wins that fight?
I think it's quite a straightforward answer on my end. The big man himself.
I know what's going to come.
By stoppage.
How does he beat Fury?
Just being a supreme athlete, good technician, physically strong as well, and getting to him. Once he gets him, I think he'll get to him badly.
How much would you like to be on the undercard of that fight?
It's a must. It's a must. I mean, I signed with AJ for a reason, and this might be one of those reasons. You know what I mean? I feel like this is it'll be such a big event to just even have my name sort of on the bill at this point in my career is a blessing. I think it'll be one of the biggest fights we've ever seen. So it's important to, it'll be important for me.
Right, life after boxing. How does it look to you? What is your main goal?
I feel like I'll be opening up a McDonald's or two. That's one of the main aims. I feel like, I started at McDonald's, and a lot of people have made jokes about me going back to McDonald's. Well, I wouldn't mind about McDonald's as an owner. So that's definitely a couple of the things I like to do, as well as obviously a lot of my close friends are involved in property, whether that's development, quantity surveying. So I like to go into property development as well. but we never know what else could happen in boxing. Do you know what I mean? Maybe a trainer. I don't know. I don't know if I have what it takes to be a trainer because it's all about me. But we'll see. We'll see.
That might change, Lawrence. You never know. Who would you say is the closest person to you outside of boxing?
Outside of boxing,
Yeah.
but I have two very close friends, I think, and my younger brother, who's very close in age.
Would you say you're quite sort of a close knit person?
Yes and no. Obviously, I'm closing it in terms of like who I let into my actual inner circle, as in like who's going to be backstage or who's going to be in my hotel before and after fights. Because ultimately, I've had the same group of friends since before the Olympics from my first fight. I look around and see who was at my first ever amateur fight, and a lot of those people are still here now. A couple of them are in the house right now. And for me, that's important because you hear time and time again of how people let their circle get too big, and people are only in it for one, two, three things. But I know that win, lose or draw, these are the same people that are going to be with me regardless. So.
Right, let's move on. This is all about your personal life, Lawrence. Let's get going. What's your biggest achievement outside of the ring?
I think helping my mum to renovate and buy her council flat. Well, now it's not a council flat anymore, but yeah.
What about one thing that people don't know about you?
What do people not know about me? Like I said, people know I'm vegan. I don't know. I think I'm quite open with a lot of stuff. The stuff that I people don't know, I can't actually say. So I'll just leave it at that. Like, I don't know.
That's a good way to be. Open's good. What about characteristics? What's your worst characteristic? What's your Achilles heel?
Either like forgetfulness or probably being a bit too good at prioritizing.
What does home life look for you? How do you switch off from boxing?
I play chess or Call of Duty, PlayStation, and I like to have like little games nights. I think those are important as well.
Are you a man that likes to take away, or do you do the cooking?
I enjoy takeaway. I mean, I can cook, but I just feel like when I'm making the type of food that I always know how to make is very fatty. So when I make my own food, it's too healthy. So I enjoy a takeaway.
This is always an interesting one. What about your pet peeves? What grinds your gears?
When women don't text me back, it's very rare these days, but still, they don't text me back.
On that one, we're going to move on. Right, this is the fantasy round, a quick, short, sharp round. Right, fantasy fight. Who would it be and who with? Anyone?
Tony Benny.
Really?
Yeah, because he's someone that I looked up to on the come up. I remember I put in like a little um, a post where he was obviously number one, and I always wanted to fight him. But obviously, he's someone that I look up to and actually respect now. He's someone who doesn't shy away from telling you the good and telling you the bad. So it would have been him because obviously he's the last cruiserweight world champion that we've had. So it's always the guy you just missed. So definitely him.
You couldn't tempt him out of retirement then?
I don't think so. I thought about it. I don't think so. But who knows? You never know. If I win my next
Let's
fight,
get it
you never
started.
know. I want zero trouble with Tony. I've seen him. I've seen Tony. I want zero trouble. But he's definitely someone that. Listen, hey, you see this, and you're thinking if Lawrence wins, you never know. But other than that, you know what I mean? Like, no, more power to him.
Lawrence, I feel like we've started something now. If anyone could play you in a film, who would it be?
I would say no. Denzel's getting a bit on now. It would have been him. I'm not going to say Idris Elba. If we're talking about my life after boxing, definitely. If not, then myself. I feel like I've got what it takes to be an actor.
Wow, okay. Could see you branched out into acting. We're all Zooming at the moment, aren't we? If you could pick three fantasy people to be on your Zoom call, who would they be?
Jay-Z.
Good choice.
Um, Mayweather. I'll say Jay-Z,
Yeah.
Mayweather, and probably Jeff Bezos. Is that how you say it?
One superpower for 24 hours. What would it be?
Um, to be able to tell the future.
Hmm. Would that not be slightly scary though?
No, I mean I'd only use it maybe 2 minutes at a time. Go to the nearest casino and know exactly what number it's going to land on, and I could turn little money into a lot of money quite quickly. So yeah, definitely that.
Lawrence, I feel like there's a theme running through this doing the rounds of the dollars, the
Oh
money.
yeah, it's important. It's important. It's important. It's important.
Right, finally, this is your final round. Boxing essentials, all part of being in lockdown. If you could eat one dish, one meal, only one meal, on repeat in isolation, what would it be?
What would it be on lockdown? Jollof rice probably. Jollof rice. Jollof rice with some plantain and moi moi.
One song to listen to on repeat.
Um, Outside by DBE.
Okay. One item. If you could only pick one item to have, what would be your item of choice?
My PlayStation with a TV.
That's two things.
Did it come separately? Oh my god,
Oh, it's
no.
a PlayStation TV.
Then
Laptop, phone,
a boxing bag.
a boxing bag. Good choice. Dream boxing hero to spend isolation with. Who would it be?
Um, Ali's daughter. I can't remember her name. Layla something Ali.
I thought you were going to say Tony Belly. Then you could just maybe talk
Nah,
about getting the
nah,
fight on. That would be a good
nah,
choice. By the end of lockdown, you
nah.
might have persuaded him. Who knows?
Mm-mm.
Finally, one fight. If you could pick one fight to watch over and over, your favourite fight, what would it be?
Oh, I'm stuck. It's either AJ versus Klitschko or Carl Froch versus George Groves one.
George Groves. Both epic fights. Lawrence, it's been an
Yeah.
absolute pleasure doing the rounds. Thank you very much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Same to you.